Hi, ladies and gents, and welcome back to the channel. If it's your first time here, please don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell. Today, we're throwing it back. It's on another Throwback Thursday to the video that I did explaining how our child got his name. It's the top 20 names we love but won't be using with a name reveal of our son. I hope you guys enjoy it. Please stick around and keep watching. You're watching the vlog that's about my life with chronic illness. You're watching Milady Life. And today on Milady Life, we are going to do the top 20 boy names that we love but will not be using. When we first got pregnant, we were watching these YouTube videos and we were looking at other mommy vloggers, top names that they loved but wouldn't be using. This is a Christmas baby, so we looked at Christmas names, we looked at boy names. We didn't know if it was a boy or a girl, so we looked at girl names. We have a tendency to get cat video bombed here. So yeah, she's going to do her thing in the background, and my apologies for that. But we looked at a lot of different names, and I do have a little cheat sheet of what the names were and what they mean. So the way this particular top 20 is set up, it goes from 20 to 1. Without further ado, let's get started. And the first name that we have is actually the name Riley. Riley means valiant, or let me see, means courageous. So it means valiant and courageous. That leads us to number 19. The two family names that run in on both sides of our family so much are Robert and John. Both his father and my father's name are John. His father unfortunately has passed and my father is still alive. My brother's name is John. One of my favorite musicians' name is John. John is just, it's even my ex-husband's name, which you can see why we didn't go with it. But John is a very prevalent name in our world and in our family, and so is Robert, my brother's name, my uncle's name, his grandfather, it's his middle name, it's his father's middle name. So both names are used a lot in our family. But I also liked the name Connor, and separately my husband saw them and put them together and realized it would be John Connor if we combined the two. We love our geek, but our geek is much more muted than that, and while it was super tempting there for a split second to go with John and Connor, we decided that, again, we like the Terminator series, but we're not too into anything. And we thought naming our child John Connor, while really cute and really kind of funny, as well as very passable, would suggest that we're more of a fans than we are. In at number 17 is a name that we really loved just upon hearing it, and it took us a little while to put two and two together, but the name was Killian. Killian, if you don't know, is Killian Jones from the show Once Upon a Time. Killian Jones is also the real name of the pirate Captain Hook, and we decided maybe not. It's a really cool sounding name though, and it does mean little church, which it was my appeal to it when we first came across the name. Now at this point you're probably going to start to notice a trend, because at 16 we have the name Brennan, and the reason why I liked it when I first heard it, Brennan is a very unique name. I haven't heard it used for boys, and when I looked at its meaning, it means prince, which very much appealed to me. My husband was lukewarm on it, and in the end, like I said, it is the last name to the character Bones, or Temperance Brennan, in Bones, which we are currently watching. Coming in at number 16 is a name that actually makes me think Harry Potter, but it's spelled differently. It's Griffin with an E-N versus an I-N, although my husband was kind of leaning more towards the I-N, and this was one of his favorite picks. Griffin is a Welsh name meaning fighting chief or fierce. When I figured out its meaning, I started to like it as well. But in the end, like I said, it did go back to Harry Potter, which I'm more of a fan of than my husband. He has a tendency to stay in the space kind of science fiction, and I like, well, every type of sci-fi fantasy kind of thing. Now at number 14 is a little bit different. My husband obviously didn't like the name because for whatever reason, I'm the one who likes the military inspired names more, but this one is actually of an Egyptian meaning, and it apparently was climbing the list and is climbing the list currently as a boy's name, which is the name Merritt, which also means beloved, which is another reason why I really liked it. So you mix the military inspired along with basically its meaning, beloved, as this child is, and most children, I'm sure. I really loved it. But my husband is the one who called veto in the end, just because he thought it was too out there. Number 13 is the name Fox. We liked it. It doesn't mean anything in particular. It is after the animal. With us going with the woodland theme, we're like, oh, that would be so cute. But in the end, it just didn't land with either one of us as a huge love. So coming in at number 12 is one of my favorites. This is a one that my husband vetoed, and eventually I kind of saw the light as well with it. At number 12, we have the name Jude. Now, Jude was one of the ones that I really love. I love the sound of it. It's a pretty Hebrew name. It means praise. And while my husband could only ever think of the song Hey Jude, which is another reason I love it, but being that I'm also Catholic, and Jude is the patron saint of lost causes, it ended up falling off our list, not mainly for that reason, but it kind of helped it. Plus, again, it was just one of those names where we really, really love it. It's so pretty. It has all these different things, uniquenesses that we like to it, but it is rather common at this point. And it was only just, we like that a lot, but we don't feel it's his name. Coming in at number 11 was a name that both my husband and I, again, really liked, but it fell in that weird spot of, we like it, but is it for our son? And it was the name Finn, which my husband would automatically go as a book reader to Huck Finn. The name Finn is actually an Irish name, which means fair. It just kind of fell in the spot of, I don't know if that we really feel that is this child's name. So again, we went with in a different direction. At number 10, at the halfway point, it was inspired off of the earlier name that I liked, Merritt, which is another reason why we're not going with it, because husband completely and totally vetoed this particular name, as it was altogether military inspired, and it's not actually being used by a name. But when I heard the name Merritt, I was like, well, I would like to name a child Valor, which obviously means courage. It's way, way, way up there for me. It just was way, way not going to happen for my husband. The name that came in at number 9, we only vetoed it because of my mispronunciation on a regular basis, and I think I finally got it, which is Kieran. Kieran is an Irish name, if I remember correctly. That means dusky or dark-haired. Now, I'm dark-haired, my husband's blonde. We didn't know what this child would come out looking, and that was another reason to knock the name off the list, but mostly it's because I kept on saying Kieran. Okay, so coming in at number 8, my name choice was the name Riker. Riker to me is a very cool sounding boy's name. Yes, it has the Star Trek element to it, but I really like it. And that is the reason why I ended up getting vetoed by my husband, is because he basically clowned and said that he would probably be running around calling our child number 1. He basically said he would be too tempted on a regular basis to turn to our child and be like, go to your room, number 1. So Riker is that's the reason why it came off our list. All right, at number 7, this was, again, a little bit too fandom for me, but my husband really enjoyed it. At number 7, our male boy name pick is Harrison. Now, Harrison, as you might know, is the actor's name who originally played Han Solo in Star Wars. I do think it's different. I think it's unique. I think it's a good male name. But again, in the end, it was one of those things where I like it, but not enough. And actually, the only reason why it got this high on the list is because it would be a way for my husband to put his Star Wars fandom into our child's name without it being like overly over the top. Coming in at number 6 is Henry. If you guys know the earlier reference to Killian Jones, Henry is the name of the young character, and Once Upon a Time, he was also Emma Swan's son. We both liked it, but in the end, it was a little too common and old school for my tastes, and my husband was only in the end, compared to what we actually chose, was lukewarm towards Henry versus what we actually went with. At number 5, we have the name Spencer. Basically, Spencer was so high on our list because we liked the name, and just in itself, it sounds like a really good name. We liked the nickname for it, which would be Spence. We played around with saying Spence to him. It does mean steward. That wasn't a really strong meaning to us. In the end, we wanted something that sounded stronger than an administrator. Not that it's a bad thing or anything, it's just it didn't have any particular meaning to us. Coming in at number 4, we have the name Parker. It simply means park keeper. We didn't want anyone that we were particularly close to that we picked their name and not somebody else's, and someone felt left out unless it was understandably his mother or father. We didn't want to insult anyone, so we ended up not going with Parker. Coming in at number 3 is the name Sawyer. Now, this is for so many reasons at the top of our list. It is something we tossed around back and forth, even after we announced his name, what it would be. I went back to Facebook, to family and friends, going, I'm kind of feeling conflicted. I really like this particular name, and I'm not sure. But we do love the name, the sound of the name. And because we had played around with so many different ways of doing the name with the middle name. And it's just a really pretty name. And again, it also reminded my husband of Huck Finn, and it's so high on our list that if we should have another boy, I think it would be at the very top of the list again. So coming in at number 2 is a name that was absolutely one of ones that I would have fought for, but husband in the very end was veto all the way, which is funny because this is actually a Christmas-inspired name. The name coming in at number 2 is Tannen. But when I was a kid, being a military brat, we were stationed in Germany for basically the most formative years, or the earliest of my years. We were stationed in Germany. And O Tannenbaum was one of the very first Christmas songs I learned in kindergarten. And in German, O Tannenbaum is the song that everyone knows here in the States as O Christmas Tree. But again, in the end, my husband was just like, not for him. Now, the number 1 name that we absolutely love and adore, and our 20 baby boy names we love but won't be using, is the name Jack. It is in close relation to John, which again was my husband's father's name, who is now passed. It's my brother's name. It's my father's name. It's all their first names. So it would also be like a homage to all of the Johns that we know, that we love. But instead of, it would give my brother the chance, if he ever has a son, to name a son John, and we have the name Jack. So as promised, this video would also be a baby name reveal. And our son's name is going to be, ta-da! Let me see if I can get that on here. Our son's name is going to be Kieran Robert. There's 2 major reasons for the name. Now the middle name is, like I had said before, 2 names run in our family very prevalently, and it's the names John and the name Robert. My brother's middle name is Robert. My uncle's name is Robert. It's been used, it's an Italian family name. Robert is very common. But also on my husband's side, it was a grandfather's name. It's been used in many uncles' names. And then on top of that, it was his father's middle name. My father-in-law, his name was John Robert, and they named my husband Bradley Robert, and now we're going to name our son Kieran Robert. Now Kieran, his first name, what we're going with, it's all for love of the geek, really. Geeky nerd, as I guess what my husband and I fall under. My husband's a very, very avid book reader. He loves to read. He reads all the time. And he feels bad thinking that he's the one who picked the name for our son, all while I'm the one who asked him from the very start, who's your favorite book character, or what was the name of your favorite book character? I didn't know at the time that I was asking that his favorite book character is actually from the Star Wars, I believe it's Legacy or maybe it's Legends series, the X-Wing series. The character's name was named Corran Horn. He was from the same planet as Han Solo, and apparently there's this large 5-book series. It kind of fell in with the whole Our Love a Geek, but wanting to be muted and having that in there, but not like really in your face. The hardest and worst thing for me to do is close out a vlog. I'm not very good at it. If you did like this, though, I would suggest hitting the like button to let me know that you liked this kind of content. A lot of my content, I will be honest with you, it's not so much the name thing as it is I'm a chronically ill and disabled mommy vlogger. I'm just kind of putting myself out there as a mom and doing life, you know, my way and the way that works for us. If you're interested in following along with that kind of story, I ask, please feel free to hit the subscribe button. If you really want to know when I post videos, I wish I could tell you for sure, but because of my chronic illness, I learned a very long time ago never to make promises. So the best thing I could suggest for anyone to do is hit the notification button, and that will tell you exactly when I post up a new video. Of course, you have to be subscribed in order to do that. And hopefully I will be seeing you all later. Thank you so much for watching Milady Life, and remember, in a life of chronic illness and disability, do what you can when you can, and remember at all times that quality of life is absolute necessity. Have a good one, guys.